of beef, my friend.
Ah,
Sanjay Joshi, our good friend Sanjay, he did a lot of lighting testing back in the day when lighting testing wasn't a thing, and
it's huge. Shook up the industry.
yeah, and he's back at it again. And
I fucking love it.
Yeah, and he tested 3 lights or whatever on Reef Builders, our friends at Reef Builders, and and happy 20th anniversary Reef Builders, and he was getting all kinds of shit online.
Yeah, it sort of started a shitstorm that was
but
silly.
It was such a stupid shitstorm. First of all, it was like, ew, how did you pick these 3 lights? It's like, fuck you.
Yeah, and people were acting like, oh, you picked those, the big 3, because they gave you money or something like that. But really, man, Sanjay is so methodical, and I've never known him. He doesn't skew a number because someone this or that. It's when he presents data, it's true data.
Yeah.
So to bother him about whatever ones he chose to put on the chopping block first, and I would almost think if you were a manufacturer of those lights, because of the way that Sanjay is with his data, I'd be a little scared. I wouldn't be like, if I'm Ecotech, oh, test these. I'm like, oh shit. Can you please talk to us before you release this data? Because he's so thorough and use such crazy stuff. I'm like, he might be testing it at a crazier way than we are. And I might be concerned about what the data shows.
Yeah. Well, too bad. And, I don't know if he's getting them for free or if he's buying them or whatever, but,
he brings us data.
We should be happy that now we have data on these 3 lights that we didn't have before. Yeah, that's a good thing. That's not a bad thing. And the other thing he was getting grief for was, well, what do we do with this data? This is not useful to me. It's like, well, then don't look at it, you dumbass.
Wait, some people got pissed because he was doing it over air, right?
Yeah, that too.
Not through water.
Who cares, right? Whatever. You're just looking at the relative differences, right?
Yeah.
But I think this one was more like, well, why didn't you tell me the cost differences between running each light? And it's like, no, dude, dudesses, people, fucking do some thought on your own. Stop, cheap baby burden waiting for Sanjay to regurgitate into your mouth.
Baby burden.
It's the thing we talk about a lot, or at least I talk about a lot. It's like you have to develop some kind of understanding about what you're trying to do and why. You can't just go, I'm going to use this light because Sanjay said it's good. You need to understand what Sanjay was trying to say, which is not so hard to understand.
Yeah.
And make a decision which of those 3 lights, if you were going to use them, would be the one for you to use.
Whenever Sanjay comes up with these tests and releases data, it usually shakes up the industry a little bit in a good way if you're concerned about the truth. And so I like people that shake it up with good data like that.
And we got to give a shout out to Jim Graham, who also does lighting testing, Telegram. All the people who are bringing you data, stop whining about it.
It's good.
It's data. It's good. Stop your whining.
I mean, if they're shilling, if they're if their tests were crappy, I get that, but
then find out that the test is crappy, and what is shilling?
And then you do it yourself, not just complain.
Who cares? Do you really care if Sanjay was given a light or if he bought it himself? As long as he
as a matter of fact, like there's a light I like a lot, a Reef Uno.
Yeah.
And I wasn't trying to put anybody on the spot, but Sanjay announced that he was doing this, and I linked Daniel Liu, the maker of it, to it, and I was like, hey, send him a light. And Daniel was like, okay. Now I'm sure, like I said, it's scary when someone tests your product because they might, like, how are you testing or what, like I'm scared it puts it out and it's like my light is crappy.
Yeah,
but,
well, then you know what
to be tested.
But you know what that means? Then your light is crappy.
And you
shouldn't be making a crappy light.
Well, I use these refis and they seem to be great. I'm interested in data that would come from Sanjay to sort of, help me look at it. And maybe I like them even more, or maybe it causes a redesign. This data is good for stuff.
Yeah. Remember the big blow up like this was with the flow, the tons of flows thing. Yeah. And at the end of that, first of all, it didn't stop anybody from buying Tunza. They're find pumps anyway.
Tons is bigger than ever right now.
If the number is different than what they said, does it really matter? And it made everyone kind of perk up and go, oh, we should be better with our testing so we're more accurate. And that's what the point is. If you're worried that your product getting tested might show that your product is shitty, then your product's probably shitty.
Yeah.